Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3779 AN. Today's date is November 21st, 2025, and the title of the episode is Jobs Are Being Added, Energy Prices Declining, Power of the Economy Returning to the People. Hey, you know what's interesting? While everyone was watching the headlines, the Trump administration just quietly released a document that could reshape the mining sector. This is real, and it's happening right now under Executive Order 14241. This isn't just about mining. It's a national security imperative. In an official report to the White House, the administration just named the Palmer Project in Alaska as a key asset of America's mineral independence. Vizsla Copper has acquired that project. We're talking an estimated $3.5 billion in ground value containing the very copper, zinc, and silver vital for our military and energy grid. This is a government-backed move to fast-track domestic production and puts Vizsla trading in the U.S. under ticker VCUFF at the center of the action. And that's just the beginning for Vizsla Copper. They're led by the same team that propelled Vizsla Silver to $1 billion valuation. With the Palmer acquisition announced less than 48 hours ago, this could mark the start of something monumental. They have the team, the assets, and now the explicit backing of a U.S. administration prioritizing national security. We've seen this happen recently when other Alaska miners like Triology Metals and Nova Minerals got government backing. Their shares shot up over 200%. The Palmer Project was just named in the government report, and the market hasn't priced it in yet. Vizsla Copper trades in the U.S. under the ticker VCUFF and in Canada as VCUV. They're definitely worth a closer look. Huge thanks to Vizsla Copper for making today's video possible. Check the link in the description below for more information. Just go to vizslacopper.com or click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum. You can see Trump and the Patriots right now. They're bringing the entire country out of their recession that they were trying to cause. And when you look back in time, you can see that all the numbers that they were putting out during the Biden/Obama time, they were all completely and utterly fake to make you believe that the economy was doing well. And when Trump inherited this economy, he had to work very, very quickly to bring us and make sure that we didn't go into a depression. And that's exactly what he's been doing this entire time. And when you hear about foreclosures, when you hear about car loan delinquencies, when you hear about all of this, this is the recession that the Biden/Obama administration put us into. And if you look very, very closely, you could see that Trump's parallel economic system that has been protecting the country from going into a deep depression and actually pulling us out of the recession. And what he's doing right now, and this is why I do believe he went in and replaced the individual from the BLS who reported on the jobs, because we needed to start from a baseline that was actually true, not a manipulated and illusionary baseline. And you could see that Trump is continually adding jobs every step of the way. Now, people are saying, well, if he's adding jobs, that's kind of odd. Why is the unemployment rate going up? Because you have to remember, they manipulate the calculations. They manipulate in what you are seeing with the jobs. And we've discussed this many, many times before, and we're going to discuss it again in a little bit. But first, let's talk about what people are experiencing today. They're experiencing the recession that the Biden/Obama administration brought us into. Trump now is making it better every single day. And when you look at like foreclosures, when you look at car loan delinquencies, yes, they are up. It looks like 2008 because that's where they brought us. Peter Sayong put this out and said, foreclosures spiked 20%, car loan delinquencies soar 50%, worse than 2008. And nearly half of Americans can't pay their bills. Biden left a crater that Trump's trying to fill with new factories. But AI could eat up the new jobs as fast as they're born. Will AI eat up some of the jobs? Yes, they will. Will they eat up every single job? No. A lot of jobs are going to be created. A lot of factory jobs are going to be created. A lot of manufacturing jobs and corporate jobs are going to be created. And we're going to see the economy really start to boom. Are there going to be AI jobs? Absolutely. In the future, will AI robots start to take over? I do believe so. Just like when you look at the factories today compared to the factories going back to the 20s, 30s, 40s, today we have automation. And yes, we're going to see that happen again. But again, this will create other jobs because people have to take care of the automation. People have to repair the automation. So I do believe we'll see other jobs be created when other jobs are removed from automation. And when you start to look at like home sales, for example, and especially existing home sales, you're starting to see existing home sales start to do a lot better. Now, Trump has said this from the very beginning. If we lower the rates, that will help the real estate industry. And of course, this is common sense. If you lower the rates, that brings more and more people into the market because now they can afford a home. When you raise the rates, it pushes people out. They don't have the buying power that they would have if they wanted to purchase a home that they wanted. Most of the time, people wait it out. They're saying, okay, since the rates went up, I don't want to buy this smaller house. I'll wait for the rates to go down a little bit and I'll buy the house that I really want. So what are you seeing right now? You're seeing existing home sales. They are now increasing every single day. So you're going to see this get better and better every single day, just like you're seeing the job market now get better and better every single day. Rapper Response 47 put this out and said, the economy added a robust 119,000 new jobs in September, more than doubling economists' expectations. Labor force participation rate ticked up. In just 1 year, we are on track to make up 1/3 of the wage losses of the Biden era. Progress, absolutely. EJ Antonio, PhD, put this out and said, net job growth in September was from full-time hiring and replacing part-time work with those full-time jobs. This is a welcome improvement after the weakness earlier in the year, because what were we coming off of? We were coming off of the Biden/Obama economy. And we're going to see this improve more so in 2026. It's going to go completely the opposite way, and people are going to be absolutely shocked. And like we said in the very, very beginning, people are saying, well, that doesn't make sense. The people are getting jobs. It beat expectations, but the unemployment rate moved up. Geiger Capital put this out and said, Powell said the unemployment rate was now more important than payroll numbers. 4.4% is a new cycle high, highest since 2021. So that's kind of odd. If we're adding jobs, why would the unemployment rate go up? Well, you have to remember, the deep state players, they had to figure out ways to keep the illusion alive. They had to make sure that people didn't understand what was really going on. And actually, I do believe that Trump and the Patriots, they're using this against the deep state, the central bankers right now. Because again, for the Fed to lower the rates, inflation has to come down, and they want to see unemployment move up. And that actually pushes the Fed to lower the rates. I think Trump now is using everything the central bank has put into place against them. But before we get to that, EJ Antonio, PhD, once again says employment of native-born Americans was up to 2.5 million in September year on year, while foreign-born employment fell 670,000 year on year, which means as they continually deport individuals, Americans now can take those jobs. Wages are going to go up, and more Americans are going to be employed. So under President Trump, all job gains have gone to native-born workers, not illegals. And when you look at the high cost of like groceries and rent, and there's not enough jobs, you have to ask a simple question. Why is that? Well, yes, the central bank is responsible for inflation. As they create more and more currency, you see inflation, which is the devaluation of the currency. And that is cumulative over a long period of time. But when the deep state players brought in illegals into this country, and they actually... Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember, the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers. Peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit x22gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's x22gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Allow them to live rent-free in apartments, allowed them to take jobs, allowed them to go on SNAP. What did that do? It increased the cost of everything. Homeland Security explains, rent is too high. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in the country. Groceries cost too much. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in this country. There aren't enough jobs. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in this country. Women don't feel safe walking down the street. There are tens of millions of illegals in this country. Traffic is terrible. There are tens of millions of illegals, criminal illegals in our country. Healthcare too expensive. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in this country. Welfare spending is through the roof. There's tens of millions of criminal illegals in this country. I can't afford a car. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Can't afford a house. There are tens of millions of criminal illegals in our country. Many problems, simple answer. And that's absolutely true. And this is how Trump is going to bring the prices down very, very quickly without going after the central bank right off the bat. Yes, in the end, he'll be going after the central bank. But again, he can counter the inflation, which is the devaluation of the currency, by doing all these things. He could bring energy costs way, way down. Get rid of and deport all the illegals. That will bring everything down. Remove those people that are on SNAP and get rid of the healthcare that we have today. That will bring down everything that we're seeing today. Now, this is a temporary fix, but what Trump is doing right now, he is mitigating everything that they have created, and he's showing the people in the year 2026, when all this is being done, that, look, do you feel better? Is your life better? Are costs down? Yes. See, once you get the people on your side, once the people say, wow, this is so much better. Look, housing prices have come down. Interest rates have come down. Food prices have come down. Energy prices have come down. All of this has come down. We want him to do more. This is great. We want to go back to the way we were. And that's what he's doing right now. So people are on his side. So when he goes after the central bank, he can say, okay, what we need to do, if you really want your buying power back, we got to get rid of the central bank system. Because you have to remember, this is a temporary fix, because any other president can come back in and just reverse this. We need to go to the source of the problem, which I do believe he's going to go to. Now, like we said from the very, very beginning, the job numbers, they kind of manipulate this into make you thinking one way when actually something else is happening. So like we said before, if Trump is creating these jobs, why is the unemployment rate going up? Now, think about what they've done in the past. As jobs aren't being created, they want you to think that everything is fine. So what do? Well, if you look at the calculation for unemployment, those people that are no longer looking for jobs, but don't have a job, they're not looking anymore because they've given up, they're not counted. So they don't count all those people. Now, they're unemployed, but they're not counted. They only count those people that are still looking for a job. And I do believe there is a time span, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. So those are the people that make up the unemployment rate. So what happens when more jobs come online? Well, then there are more people that are looking for jobs, and that raises the unemployment rate because they weren't looking for jobs. Those people aren't counted in the unemployment rate, so the unemployment rate goes down. When more jobs are created, those people that are sitting on the sidelines not looking for the job, now they're looking for the jobs, and the unemployment rate goes up. That's why you see the unemployment rate going up right now. Rapid Response 47 put this out and said, if the economy added so many jobs, why did the unemployment rate go up? It's because more people came off the sidelines and were actively looking for work. When you're looking for work, you actually are counted among the unemployed. So is this a true measure of how many people don't have jobs? No, they do this to keep the illusion alive. So when you look at this, and I do believe Trump is using this against the central bank system, when you create jobs and there are job openings, I mean, real jobs that people can do, people are going to say, holy crap, this is my chance. I mean, I gave up, 8 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago or 12 weeks, but now I can start looking. So now all of a sudden they polish up their resume, they put it back into the mix, and now they're actively looking for that job. So now they're counted. So wait a minute, the number goes up. But Trump can use this against the Fed to do what? To lower the rate. This is what Trump is doing right now. And think about it. While all of this is going on, Trump is shrinking the government. And he's doing this very, very successfully. E.J. Antonio, PhD, once again says, the Trump administration has managed to reduce federal payrolls every single month this year. Promises made, promises kept. And that's exactly what he's done. The graph right now is a straight line, pretty much a straight line down right now. And that's going to continue to happen. And what is Trump doing? He's bringing more and more investments into this country, and more manufacturers are coming back to this country. And what is this going to do? Yeah, it's going to make the unemployment rate go up, because now there's going to be more and more people looking for the job. They're going to come off the sidelines and they're going to look for jobs. Eric Doherty put this out and said, an incredible victory. GE Appliances is pulling jobs from China, relocating from them to Kentucky, USA. The company's moving to produce more domestically, $150 million in contracts for U.S. suppliers. The experts lose yet again. So let's see. Basically, GE, they're going to be pulling their company from China and coming to America, which means we're going to see a lot of American jobs that are going to be created here. Now, once again, in the very, very beginning, we might not have the people that are necessary to fill these jobs because they don't have the skills. So will there be H-1B visas being used for this? Yes, I do believe so. And yes, they will train the American worker. Just like when the companies move from this country to China, the Chinese just didn't walk in there and say, okay, I'm ready to go. I know how to do all this. They were trained on how to do all of this. Yes, American workers went to these other countries. They trained those people. And then eventually what happened is they didn't need the American workers there anymore. Same thing is going to happen here, but in reverse. And this is what Trump is doing right now to build the economy. And this is why he created the parallel economic system, because he needed something to counter and actually compete with the central bank system. Because to keep the government and this entire country operational, and again, Trump is shrinking government quite a bit. Remember, we were bloated because of the central bank. We created these agencies and all these jobs that we really don't need. And the wages that the government workers are getting are way, way too high. Trump now is slashing all of this and using the parallel economy then to compete with the central bank, because that is his weapon against the central bank. And Trump, he put this out on Truth, says, if Trump has the power to ban trade, then he has the power to moderate it through tariffs. And that's absolutely true. He does have the power. And he's going to be returning the power, as we can see already, back to the people of this country. And something's happening that's very, very interesting that has to do with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Joe Lange explains, everything is falling into place. A famous billionaire investor is suddenly laying out a plan that I have mentioned recently, and I don't think the timing is a coincidence. Who is the billionaire? Bill Ackman. Ackman, a billionaire hedge fund manager and a founder of Pershing Square Capital Management, endorsed Trump in the 2024 U.S. presidential election after a long history of supporting Democratic candidates. His endorsement came shortly after the attempted assassination of Trump in 2024. Ackman cited dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party policies, including vaccine mandates and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and reasons for a shift in support. What's Ackman's plan? Bill Ackman thinks he knows what to do to finally resolve the 16-year limbo trapping Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the mortgage finance pillars that remain under federal control over a decade after the financial crisis. In a Tuesday presentation on X, the billionaire founder of Pershing Square Capital Management outlined a three-step proposal he says would meet the Trump administration's policy goals while restoring the companies to private market discipline. I knew that Fannie and Freddie were placed into conservatorship back in 2008, but what I didn't know is that the taxpayers are going to play an important role in the future mortgage industry. How? Did you know this? Make taxpayers official owners. As part of the 2008 rescue, Treasury received warrants to buy up to 79.9% of each company's common stock at a nominal price. Exercising those warrants, Ackman said, would convert taxpayer implicit economic stake into a formal controlling interest, an unusual structure that would leave the U.S. government the majority owner of two publicly traded financial institutions. All Trump has to do is exercise those warrants, and the government will own almost 80% of Fannie and Freddie. This would be a huge deal, but it wouldn't be the government owning Fannie and Freddie. The American people would own them. Do you think it's just a coincidence that Trump has created the sovereign wealth fund? Is Fannie and Freddie going to be part of the sovereign wealth fund? I think that's always been the plan. But Ackman advises one more important thing. Return the GSEs to the stock market. Fannie and Freddie were delisted from the New York Stock Exchange from entering conservatorship. Ackman said the companies now meet listing requirements and that the relisting would restore liquidity for investors, broaden ownership, and help recapitalize the firms. He argued that with taxpayer ownership approaching 80%, the resulting equity value could exceed $300 billion. If the American people own 80% of Fannie and Freddie at a value anywhere near $300 billion, guess what? Trump keeps mentioning something important. Do you want to know why Trump keeps mentioning paying the American people dividends? A private company that is worth $300 billion is going to pay out some dividend checks every quarter to the American people. Can you catch the signal? As Bessent said early on in his role as Treasury Secretary, they are monetizing the asset side of the balance sheet. We live in a wealthy country, and the American people deserve to share in that wealth, rather than continue to be the world's piggy bank and the source of massive money laundering by our crooked politicians. Trump continues to make deals with countries and huge corporations to invest in this country, to rebuild the country for the future. But Trump has also been buying stakes in big corporations for the American people too, such as Intel, MP Materials, Triology Metals, Lithium Americas, and he's thinking of taking stakes in several defense contractors too. The sovereign wealth fund is going to continue to grow, and the American people are going to be receiving dividend payments instead of being taxed by the government. And really, take this a step further. As people are receiving dividends from all the investments and everything coming into this country, especially with the tariffs, this will allow Trump then to move us off the central bank system. So think about it. The people are no longer paying internally. You see, the deep state, the central bankers, they wanted, and not just here in this country, but around the world, they wanted people to pay internally over and over, more and more taxes. Give us more that you have. Now, go back to the times of kings and queens. Isn't this what they did? Either when they were at war or their coffers were, drying up, they would go to the serfs and they would say, you owe us more taxes. And they would say, I have nothing left to give. There's nothing left. And they would keep doing this over and over and over until what happened? The people rose up and they basically went in and they lopped off their heads or put them in prison. Trump now is doing the opposite of what they've done in the past over and over and over, because we're seeing it happen today. The latest thing that they want to do is the carbon tax. See, they're going to tax you more and more and more, and they're trying to make this worldwide. Trump now is removing their internal revenue system. And the reason why they have an internal revenue system is because of the central bank. And now what he's doing is he's shifting everything. And he's shifting it to the external revenue system. And this new system, this parallel economic system, which is growing right now and it's getting very, very strong, and soon it's going to overshadow the central bank system. As this continually builds, he can wean the people off of the system that the deep state, the central bankers have created, which means the people will no longer be paying internally, which means your hard labor that you're doing right now, because remember, you're a slave to the central bank. You have to work harder and harder and harder every single year to meet your obligations of paying them. Remember, the currency that we use today does not belong to the American people. It belongs to the private West central bank system. You're borrowing it. And as it devalues, they need more and more and more of your labor to pay for the interest on this currency. Trump now is shifting this, and what he's going to do is he's going to be using the external revenue to pay their debt for the time being. And as he does this, he can wean the people off of the central bank system, which means you will not have to pay income tax. And when all's said and done, and all the people are off of the central bank system, and we no longer have to borrow from the central bank system, and we're actually funding and using the external revenue, not just from tariffs, but from energy sales, AI technology sales, from the gold card, and all the investments that he has being brought into this country, because again, they're making income because of all the tariffs and everything. The dividend is going to be paid to the people. We're no longer paying income tax. Everything that you make, you keep, which means once we're weaned off of the central bank, your buying power comes back. And that is going to be absolutely incredible because, again, the reason why most of the people in this country are struggling right now is because your buying power has been stripped from you in multiple ways, but the major way is the central bank because inflation is cumulative. It doesn't, you only get it back when you pay off the debt. And once that comes back to you, your life is all of a sudden going to become that much easier. And you know when people are going to really start to see this pick up? In 2026. Because when your buying power, every step of the way, when you see the prices coming down in the supermarket and energy prices going lower, that means Trump is returning the buying power back to you. Remember, they've been taking the buying power away from you. So people are going to feel really comfortable. They're going to feel really good. And as time goes on and people, and he takes away the taxes, he already started it. No tax on tips, no tax at overtime, no tax on Social Security. Remember, this is just the beginning stages because, again, he just can't wipe out the taxes because, again, everything would implode. He doesn't want everything to implode. So over time, when he starts to remove the income tax, that's when people are going to go, holy crap, what just changed here? I get to keep my $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. I don't have to give this to the government anymore. This is absolutely incredible. I have so much more money. And I also have a lot more money because, wait, food prices are down. Energy prices are down. Airline tickets are down. Bus tickets are down. Everything's coming down. This is absolutely incredible. This is what people are going to experience a little bit at a time. You see, the central bank, when they came into existence, they robbed you of this a little bit at a time. Trump is going to give this back to you a little bit at a time. And you're going to feel better and better and better as time goes on. And he's just putting everything into place. And actually, it's going to be absolutely incredible when you start to see it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.